Hi guys, good morning and welcome back to Little Light of Maine. I'm headed out to do some chores right now. I thought I would take you guys along with me and we can check on all the animals, make sure everyone's fed and watered and ready for the day. And then later this afternoon, we'll check out the garden. I can show you around and see how things are growing. And it'll be like a little view into a day in the life of a small scale homesteader. So grab your coffee and let's go. This is our pig storage, our pig feed storage. We typically take from the blue barrel and add to the 5-gallon bucket every day. And then from there we can feed the pigs morning and night. We have 4 pigs, so we feed them 20 pounds a day, 10 pounds in the morning, 10 pounds at night. I'm gonna grab some pig feed and we'll go feed the pigs. Good morning. You guys hungry? All right, so these are our 4 pigs. I like to, they're gonna be really loud because they're hungry. I like to grab the feed pans and bring them outside. We're talking, these pigs are fairly big, so they can get a little excited about their food and it can be a little bit dangerous, but typically not that bad. But I like to grab their feed pans, bring them out of the fence so that I can fill them and toss them into them. That way I'm not carrying a bucket that they know contains food into their food pen and getting them super excited. So let's go grab some feed pans. That's not gonna work this morning because they're so excited. So I'm just gonna take the feed pan in, toss a little in one bowl, book it for the other. We use the Premier One fencing for pretty much all of our animals. This right here is the hog fencing. We're also using the hog fencing for our goats, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So the Premier One fencing that we use operates off of a solar panel, and the panel itself is adjustable so that you can move it to whatever angle you want for the sun. Now, on a day like today, it's very overcast and foggy, but these panels do still work really, really well. We haven't had an issue with them. Typically, it only takes one little zap and the pigs or other animals learn to really respect it, and there's no problem after that. Good morning. What are you doing? Hi, girls. We typically let our laying hens free range, but with it being garden season, they kept scratching up our beans and onions and garlic, so we did have to put them in a cage for now. Our goal is to move their chicken coop into the 2-acre goat pasture when the time comes. We're working on that fence line right now, and so then they'll have those 2 acres to roam, and they'll be on grass, which will be a lot better for them. We prefer to have our chickens on grass, but for now, unfortunately, this is their setup, but they're still happy and they're still giving us eggs. So we use the Premier One fencing for all of our animals. This is actually hog fencing, but the goats really respect it. They've been zapped by it just a couple times, and since then we haven't had any issues with it. They know that it's not on right now. Haven likes to come over and lift the fence up and let the goats out. But other than that, there really hasn't been a time that they've gotten out of these fences unless the fence has been off and Haven has worked her magic. We really like that. They do make a taller goat fence, but it's just not something that we have felt the need to spend the money on right now because this is working so well for us where the goats are still fairly small. Alright, I'm going to get the goat stall cleaned out while they're out on grass today, and all of this bedding is going to go into the chicken run where that will eventually be made into compost for next year. So let's get this cleaned out, take it over there, put new fresh bedding in, and then the goats will be happy tonight. We used to get baled shavings from Tractor Supply. It was becoming really pricey and we were looking for an alternative and heard about a local company that actually makes wooden toys for children. They allow you to go and bag up your own sawdust for no cost to you. What are you doing?
So I'm just getting out of work right now, and there's a couple more things today that we got to take care of. And the first thing that we got to take care of is I got to flip this compost pile again. We started this about a week ago, and I've flipped it once so far, and we'll flip it today and every other day for the next 2 weeks anyways. So our compost is made up of mostly litter from the barn, from the goats. In this one we've got lobster shells, clam shells, there's some seaweed in there, all of the grass clippings from mowing the lawn, all stacked in a layered sandwich basically. And in 3 weeks total, this should be ready for the garden. Yeah, with that job done, I'll go get Olivia and see if she'll help me go move the pigs. It's been 2 weeks since we moved the pigs into their paddock now, and they're ready to be moved.
Okay, we'll meet you down there.
So if you can't tell, we're down here next to the pigs. It's been a week and a half since we moved them last. And this is all about 2 acres here that we've had. It was cut probably 20 years ago for wood. And then we had a forestry mulcher come in on a skid steer this winter and take everything else down, right down to the stumps, and now it's all coming up, small maple trees, raspberries, saplings and stuff, and we're using the pigs, and they come through here and they'll eat all this, and everything else that they don't eat they'll just plow under. If this was normal pasture, it would be, 4 or 5 days, maybe a week, but where we're trying to just completely eradicate everything, turn it all up, and then we'll move them and come in here and plant seed for pasture. So what Olivia's doing is she's going to take this Premier One hog net that we have. She's going to go down there and we'll set this whole fence up, and as soon as we get that set up, we'll take 2 feed pans, put them over there and feed these pigs, get them to go through it, close up the new net, and I'll come back in with a tractor and grab their little pig hut and drag that into it, and should go pretty flawless. It usually does. They usually work pretty well for us, so we'll get this done. So the plan of action here is I'm just going to fill this full of feed. They're pretty food motivated, so I'll get over here on this side of the fence and I'll feed them. I'll have Olivia over there shut the Energizer off just long enough for me to take this gate out, pull it back, and they all should run right through. So our portable pig shelter here took a little collateral damage. When we built it on 4x4 cedar posts that we milled, and probably that wasn't the best idea, but it's what we had, so it's what we used. But the problem with this area is the stumps are so tall that they catch on this area here on the back that holds this water barrel, and it's not a big deal. A few nails will hold it, but design flaw on our part. But this barrel that we've got is a 55-gallon food grade barrel, and we've got just one pig nipple on it, and that's been adequate for 4 nearly full-size hogs since April. And I do have another nipple to put on it if we need to, but so far they've been doing fine without it. We bring down 10 gallons a day and they probably drink about 8 of it, so I'm going to put 10 more gallons in it right now.
All right, so I'm standing on the fence line here, and I just wanted to show you how incredible it is, the amount of work that these pigs do just in the 10 days that they're on each piece of land. So on this side over here, this is where we just moved them from. They were only here for 10 days before moving to this property over here. They've tilled up all kinds of roots and rocks, and they've done a really incredible job. Alright guys, so I didn't have a chance to get into the garden yesterday. It started to rain and I didn't want to bring the camera out to film out here in the rain. So I figured we can do it today. The sun is shining and there's lots of beautiful things to look at, so we'll go check it out. So this is our noodle bean trellis. These beans will grow up over the trellis and some will actually hang down, and that will form a walkway, which I'm really excited about. The noodle beans are very, very large. We've never grown them before. It's something that we wanted to try, and we'll keep you guys posted on what they look like and how they taste, and maybe some recipes that we use with them. So next in the garden we do have some pepper plants. These are all plants that we started inside, and we had never started our own pepper plants before, so this was really exciting for us too. Everything looks so beautiful. We have some that are getting ready to harvest. I have picked a couple that probably weren't ready completely yet, but they were so yummy, and I just had to have a fresh pepper from the garden. In our pepper bed this year, we grew green peppers, jalapenos, and chili peppers. We've done the jalapenos and the green peppers before. The chili peppers are a first for us, but one of my favorite peppers, and I'm really excited to have those with tacos and in burritos and all of the yummy Mexican food. The cucumbers are looking really incredible too. We have picked several inside, and I plan to make pickles today. I'm not sure if I'll do just a small batch of refrigerator pickles or if I'll go through the whole canning process or not. What is it? A pickle? A cucumber? Can you even see me past all of these carrots? Oh, they're beautiful. They're coming in really, really thick. The carrots look really large. I'm so excited about this bed. It's probably the one that I've taken the best care of this year as far as weeding goes, and They are just so beautiful. In our garden bed next to our carrots, we grew kohlrabi, which is something that was a first for us this year as well. And they look like they're ready to harvest, so we'll pull those as soon as I figure out what we're gonna do with them. So if you guys have used kohlrabi before and have some recipes that you like, let us know how you like to use them. We planted Swiss chard next to our kohlrabi in our big carrot bed, and it is looking really fabulous. Our potatoes have started to flower. Everything came up really well in this bed. For the first time this year, I put a lot of our herbs in the center of our potato bed. This is something I read about online. It's supposed to enhance the flavor of the potatoes. So I put our parsley, our cilantro, and what was the other one? And our basil in with our potatoes, and it smells really incredible over here. I'm not sure if it really will affect the flavor of the potatoes that much. We'll see, and I'll let you guys know. A whole bed of beets. Beets are probably our all-time favorite vegetable in this house. We love them pickled, but a lot of times I just slice them up and make them kind of like a Harvard beet, but less sugar and more of that beet flavor. So that's something that we really enjoy. Last year we didn't get a huge beet harvest. Well, that's not true. We got a big beet harvest, but all of our beets were very small. So we have fertilized these beets a couple times this summer, and hopefully the beets will be larger in size this year so that we get more from this bed than we typically would have. Last year we only planted in the ground, and our garden was much smaller, so we didn't have the opportunity to grow. And so this has been really great for us this year. A fresh start, fresh compost, and we'll see how it works. Here you can see our squash and our pumpkin plants, and those have really taken off. They're starting to crawl across the ground. So when we planted them, we tried to set them up so that they would crawl in this direction rather than towards our other plants in each of those beds. As you can see, we do have some more carrot plants over here, and over on this side you can see that we have some corn. And as you can see, the corn is coming up really beautifully. This right here is a sunflower that I accidentally picked earlier in the season, and we replanted it, and it's coming back to life a little bit. So we had something get in our pea trellis, and at first we thought maybe a deer. At night we're out all day long pretty much, and so with the dogs being out, typically we don't have a deer problem during the day, but at nighttime you never know, so that's what I blamed it on. And then if you guys follow us on Instagram, you saw that I actually caught our dog in the act of tearing down the pea trellis. So that's something that we're going to have to prevent from happening in the future, but for this year the peas are all gone. In the same bed as our peas though, we do have zucchini. Usually I grow zucchini and summer squash. This year I just focused on zucchini, mostly because I really want to make zucchini relish, and Luke doesn't really love squash, summer squash, so we probably won't be eating a lot of it fresh. So this was my solution. We only did 2 zucchini plants, and they are producing plenty for what I want to do this year. So I've already harvested several off, and I do plan to make a small batch of zucchini relish just to have in the fridge. I love zucchini relish on wraps and sandwiches and cheeseburgers. And along with the child that's getting kind of grumpy, we planted broccoli, and it is turning out beautifully. You see the broccoli? I'm not really sure why this plant is growing so much slower than the rest. I did fertilize the broccoli last week, so maybe that's something that we'll need to do again to this plant in particular. Very beautiful. So we were trying to come up with an option for our tomato trellis this year. And I loved this. Luke built it the other day. He thinks it looks a little bit redneck. I think that it looks really rustic and beautiful. So in order to support the tomatoes, he just added this brace with logs coming up from each end, and then like a cross arm on the top. So he cut notches out of the tall sides for that top log to just sit on top. And so from there we have hung some string that comes down and attaches to a rock as a weight, and then the tomato has the opportunity to kind of be wrapped around this string as it grows taller. In the center of each of our tomato beds, we planted lettuce, and so that's just been enough for us to have fresh salads every week, lettuce on wraps, things like that.